Hi guys, it's Han here. Today we are going to check out the 2023 Hyundai IONIQ 5. Thanks to friends' help, welcome to subscribe my new English and Chinese car reviews channel. Thanks for subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing, and lighting up the little bell. Hyundai IONIQ 5 is the first product after IONIQ becomes Hyundai's new generation electric car series. Positioned in the compact crossover segment, comes from Hyundai Electric Global Modular Platform, introduced in 2022 model. It is a sister model of Kia EV6. Font McPherson and rear multi-link suspension design. External dimensions. If compared with EV6, the wheelbase is 3.9 inches longer than EV6. Overall length is 1.8 inches shorter than EV6. The width is the same as EV6. Height is 2.2 inches higher than EV6. Minimum ground clearance is 6.1 inches. The current IONIQ 5 has a single-motor rear-wheel drive version and a dual-motor four-wheel drive version, and a standard range trim in single-motor version products, which motor parameters are relatively weaker. In terms of matching battery packs, we can see that only battery for standard range rear-wheel drive version. Its voltage and capacity are slightly smaller. Other two versions, the battery packs of rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, are all identical. Both support 800-volt charging systems. EV is relatively heavy. We can see the curb weight of the entire car series weigh more than 4,000 pounds. Models with dual motors are heavier even. Maximum towing capacity with trailer brakes is 2,300 pounds. None is 1,650 pounds. In terms of comprehensive energy consumption, it has the best performance with rear-wheel drive standard range. 2024 model, the basic configuration remains the same as that of the 2023 model, just a slight change in price. At the manufacturer without shipping costs, retail price guidance. SE trim increased by $200, limited increased by $750. SEL trim reduced by $200. Don't know why. Maybe in the past it was not set too high. IONIQ 5, not only is it relatively popular in the market, it's also quite popular in terms of media loans. I signed up early but just got it in 2 days, which we're going to check. Is a 2023 IONIQ 5 limited four-wheel drive. It has no much options, basically the basic configuration. Equipped with panoramic glass roof, LED light source for whole vehicle, 255/45 R20 wheels, Bose audio, 12.3-inch LCD instrument and central screen, heated and ventilated front seats, heated steering wheel. Buy now or lease 2024 IONIQ 5, can get a level 2 home charger and $600 installation fee. Also get 2 years free charging service for 30 minutes each time. Please refer to the official information for specific details. The MSRP of this car, including shipping, is $58 and $5. It was finally assembled at the Korean plant. The one we got is Model 23. Actually, 24 models are now available in stores. Hyundai also launched a 2025 N-Series IONIQ 5. More violent. Upgrades of models 24 to 23. One is at the limited level added rearview mirror camera. Rear seat belt pretensioners and limiters as standard. Steering wheel feedback for lane keeping assist and blind spot collision assist as standard. Other all of Model 24 is basically the same as Model 23. If we only look at the video and pictures of this car, you will feel that it is not a big guy. When we stand next to it, maybe it feels like not high enough. But it's really a big guy, which gives us a greater contrast in pictures and reality. From the appearance point of view, if the EV6, its sister, were a sporty car with cool style, while this IONIQ 5, I think the design is quite cute. It even looks like a first draft of a car design which hasn't been polished yet. Nowadays, the designs of EVs are generally strange and crazy, so its design is not too unusual. Viewed from the front cabin is not too slender and has a relatively large angle streamlined shape. The hood, if I can call it that, actually occupies a certain area of the fender, replaces the function of the fenders. This is also quite similar to the design on EV6. The hood is picked up from here. In the IONIQ 5 family, we can see the front face of Limited has some differences from other trims. Although their outlines are completely the same, there are certain differences between the Limited trim and others in the design of details below the bumper. Overall, I feel that the Limited trim is fuller. There are 2 square light strips inside each light group, which integrate daytime running lights and turn signals. In the middle of the hood is the Hyundai logo, below which is the front camera. There is a slightly raised bumper shape at the front. Below the traditional bumper position, it uses chrome-plated material, which looks shiny on the front, and the overall sealing is relatively tight. In terms of shape, as we know, IONIQ series now has 2 products. One is IONIQ 5, the other is IONIQ 6. The 5th and 6th they are brothers. But you can see the design styles of the two shapes are completely different. However, it's also in line with the temperament of Hyundai. According to the tradition of Hyundai, no matter old and new models vertically, or between series horizontally, there are basically not much inheritance relationship in design. Of course, on the plus side, this provides designers with a broader design space, can design products in the way they want. In the front, there's also a small storage compartment here. In my opinion, the most distinctive feature of this car is actually its side shape. The side shape is very recognizable. Everyone just looked at the data. The wheelbase of this car is more than 3 meters. The wheelbase of 3 meters in this level was unimaginable in the previous traditional gasoline vehicles. As we all know, in the field of gasoline vehicles, if the wheelbase is increased to more than 3 meters and the total length is more than 5 meters, it's the design standard for flagship sedans. Nowadays, EVs have broken through the design barriers of gasoline vehicles, and the wheelbase of this level of vehicles has exceeded 3 meters, which is indeed rare in this class. Even if just look at the side of this car, not number on paper. It's basically got 4 wheels placed on the 4 very corners of the vehicle. The sidelines of this car are also relatively bold in design, mostly straight lines. There is a relatively straight waistline on the side, and many shapes are also outlined with straight lines on the door. And the shape made with this decorative material on the side can echo the decoration on the front and rear. The 4 wheel arches of the vehicle do not have a rough shape. The design is quite delicate. Some shapes are designed on the wheel arches, and the color matching is also very sophisticated. The front cabin of the vehicle does not appear to be very slender, and it feels integrated with the passenger cabin, which design is also very similar to the EV6. There is a larger fastback shape in the back. I don't think it will affect the headroom in the second row, but the upper part of the trunk space should be affected to a certain extent. We will check it out later. The outer handles of the 4 doors are all of the outward turning type that is commonly used on EVs. The opening angles of the 4 doors are relatively large, especially this back door. The opening angle is quite exaggerated. 4 windows, all use double-layer laminated glass. This is awesome. Lower edge of vehicle is not covered by the lower edge of the door. This vehicle and EV6, although in the US market are both positioned in the compact crossover segment, the same thing between the two cars is that they are not too tall. Getting on and off these two cars, it feels a bit like getting in and out of a sedan, slightly taller than a sedan. This car uses 4 large 20-inch wheels. Big wheels go with this car really attracts attention. In addition, the shape of the wheels is in line with the cool style of the tram. From a distance, these 4 large wheels and hubs are indeed very eye-catching. All IONIQ 5 series, the front brake discs come with ventilated discs diameter of 12.8 inches. The rear disc is a solid disc with a diameter of 12.8 inches. All series are consistent. The charging port of this car on the right rear. It can be opened up directly with hand or opened up remotely through the key. Can be closed directly with the button and also by the key. The design style of the rear is basically consistent with the front, mainly straight lines. Decorative materials and shapes echo the design elements at the front and sides. Above is a rather exaggerated tail wing, in which there are 2 hollow forms, very sporty. Integrated high-mounted brake light, but unfortunately it's the same as EV6. There is no rear wiper. The shape of taillight unit and lights in front are also consistent. At first glance, the rear taillight just like a through-shaped taillight, but it is actually not. The turn signal, brake light, taillight, and reversing light are all focused on the left and right sides. Although the middle part looks like a light strip, it is not. It is just to highlight the dot logo elements of the IONIQ family. There is actually no protruding bumper platform design at the rear. This piece feels a bit like a bumper, but in fact it is the tailgate. The design below the traditional bumper position is relatively complicated. It cleverly integrates reflective panels into the decorative shape. I think the design is quite beautiful and clever, and the decorative shape also echoes the shape of the front and sides, the key of Hyundai family. There are still quite a few buttons on it. Open up the tailgate, you can see that the lining is also made of plastic. This vehicle is no high, although the depth of the trunk is great. The trunk height is not so high. Due to the influence of the fastback shape, the depth above is not very deep. There are 2 positions reserved for the retractable curtain at the back. which can be placed in two different positions. There is a light on the left, which is also the only light in the entire trunk. There's a 12-volt charger socket here. There's nothing on the right. It seems that there is no hook in the trunk. It's not very convenient in daily life. When the cover is opened up, you can see the wrapping below is quite tight. This protruding position is the Bose audio. A charge cable. Household 3-phase power supply. Has no spare tire. There's a tire repair kit here. After the second row is folded down, this car is also equipped with the Hyundai Group's high-end models that driving in and out of parking spaces without driver getting in the car. Lock the car and start the reverse remotely. Stop and move forward. Stop. Sitting in this car, we can obviously see the unified design style and some common parts of the IONIQ family or the big Hyundai family. On the basis of the same cute style design, there are also some simple home styles. Neither the styling nor the details appear to be very complicated, which is in sharp contrast to the more impetuous interior design trends in today's automobile industry. Of the 4 windows, only the 2 front ones have one-button auto functions, while the rear 2 do not have that functions. Seat memory buttons on the door panels. Also, some buttons to the left of the steering wheel. It has a heads-up display, and the content of the head-up display is relatively rich. The display area is relatively large. There's also a 3-dimensional display views. Looks quite novel. 2 12.3-inch screens connected together create an integrated plane design, which is the current unified design of the Hyundai Group. There is a fabric decoration designed on the left edge of the 2 screens. I still have the same view. It might be better if this piece was made more functional. The interior color of the vehicle is mainly black, which forms a relatively large contrast with the white decoration of the outer frame of the screen. The instrument panel is also a common part of Hyundai. Use 2 bar graphs on the left and right. The left is the speed and the right side is the power output. Middle is the information display, controlled through the buttons on the right side of the steering wheel. The information displayed is fine, not so complicated. It can show left blind zone view when you turn on left signal and display right side 1 when you turn 1 right side. If necessary, alert information can be displayed on both the left and right sides of panel. The steering wheel is also a common part of the EV's family. The 2-spoke design is cute. The steering wheel is relatively small and not a regular circle. The hand shapes at 3 and 9 o'clock are very exaggerated, and they are quite comfortable to hold on to. The steering wheel is also thicker, and the leather is more delicate. The buttons on the steering wheel are all common parts of the family. The driving mode control is placed here. It has a total of 4 driving modes: Eco model, Normal mode, Sport mode, and Snow mode. There are 2 paddles behind the steering wheel. Adjust the intensity of kinetic energy recovery. There are a total of 5 recovery levels from 0 to 4. The lights have an automatic on and off function with auto high beam function. The front wiper has a rain sensing function. The gear lever is placed here. The gear setting is still somewhat different from the traditional setting. It is turned forward to move forward. Twist it back for reverse gear and press it for P. The steering wheel is manually adjustable in 4 directions, and the adjustment range is relatively large. The feeling I'm sitting in this car is the same as sitting in other new products of Hyundai. After I adjusted the seat and steering wheel to the positions fit me, when I look at this dashboard, the upper half of the steering wheel blocks some of the dashboard content. Auto-dimming rearview mirror. 3 garage switches. Does not have a glasses case. The ceiling material is made of relatively rough fabric material. There is glass above, not sunroof. It cannot be opened up. The curtain opens in 2 sections. If compared with current cool EVs, the screen is not too large, but the functions in it are very rich. It's a relatively high configuration level, and it's EV. The display inside is rather fancy. Range and charging related information. The front 2 seats both have seat heating and ventilation functions. No physical buttons for seat heating and ventilation functions. Only be adjusted on the screen, related to the air conditioner. Various display adjustments. As a product of the Hyundai Group, its iPhone CarPlay and Android phone connections require cable plug-in connections. It has a panoramic views, appearance 3D, rear wide angle plus panoramic view, rear overview, rear blind spots on both sides, the front image plus the panoramic view looking down from the front, and the blind spots on both sides of the front. It rained today and there is no camera cleaning on it. It will be more troublesome after the camera is splashed with mud. Although it is equipped with a powerful central screen, there are still many buttons below. These physical buttons are for controlling the screen and media. The touch buttons are used to control the air conditioner. This is somewhat different from the EV6 we looked at before. There is a USB port at the foot of the front, and here is a 12-volt 180-watt charger socket. There is a small storage compartment below, but I don't recommend putting anything here, as it can easily roll out. Under the two cup holders, there are two USB charger sockets. There is a wireless charging pad underneath, and a very large storage space underneath. Sitting inside, in addition to being impressed by the simple style just mentioned, we can also see that Hyundai Group has done a lot of work to maximize the internal space. In one hand, its rear wheelbase length in this class ensures that the interior space is maximized. One more we can also see, Hyundai's designers also did a lot of work inside to maximize the interior space. First thing, can see that the A-pillar is relatively upright, so that the longitudinal distance of the center console is basically shortened to the shortest. Another one is that the front legroom is made into a through-type form. This form was very common in previous American cars, but in recent years, it has been customary to make the center console and the floor into one piece. With this design, you will feel that the space is larger, both in appearance and in actual experience. But I still have to say here that many cars now have large hollow storage compartments in the middle of the floor. Please remember not to place anything at or near the driver's feet. Now I have adjusted the seat to the lowest position. You can see the space performance and the front seats of it both are very good. Just looking at the seat from the outside, you can see that it is very thick and has the feel of a relatively thick large sofa. The filling material is moderately soft and hard and does not feel very soft. The two wings of both seat back and cushion have certain bulges, which can give the body a moderate feeling of wrapping and support. The seat's skin material is a combination of leather and fabric, with some hemming on the edges, cause it's a top-of-the-line model. Passenger's seat with lumbar adjustment. Driver's seat has many adjustable items, but the lumbar support is also adjustable in two directions. The leg rest is also power adjusted on driver's seat. The driver's seat on the top model has a one-button relaxation function, but the passenger seat does not. Here we go. One click to relaxation. One button reset. When I lower the seat to the bottom position, you can see that the seat cannot be adjusted very low. It is supporting your body higher. For friends like me who want to get stuck in driving, it may not be able to achieve this. I think the center armrest is quite well made. Although it does not have a height adjustment function, it only has a lift and lower. Just two positions. But for my height, when I adjusted the seat to the lowest position, it was very comfortable to put my elbows on it, and the height was just right. The center console is basically black plastic. Here is all black plastic. There is some soft material on the edges. Here are all soft. The black plastic. On door panel, the top is soft material. Leather is here. Light colored decorative panels. It's plastic underneath. If you look at the door frame from the inside, you can see the metal parts, not fully covered. When the window is raised and lowered, the noise it makes is quite loud. One thing to be sure about in the second row is that the space is great. You can see the headroom, and the legroom are both quite good, and this seat is set relatively far back. The 3-meter wheelbase is well deserved. Although it also has a relatively fastback shape in the rear part, this shape does not affect the headroom of the second row passengers. Headroom is great. There is also the effect of a heightened theater in second row. The line of sight in the second row is relatively higher than that in the first row. The seats in the second row are also very thick, big sofa feeling as well. Both the seat cushion and the chair back are very thick. The filling material also has a moderately soft and hard feel. It would be better if the seat cushion could be higher or longer. I feel like this cushion can't support my legs very well. Seat forward, seat to end, maximum angle. The curtain of the sky opened up here. Second row air conditioning vents are very high-end placed on the B-pillar. There is a sense of enjoyment across levels. No separated zone for second row air condition. There are two USB charger sockets and a storage compartment in the back of center armrest. The central floor has a very little bulge and is basically flat. The rear armrest is high enough with two small cup holders on top. Here is curtain. On top of door panel is made of soft material, leather decorative materials, and plastics, in many places throughout the car, as well as in dented places like this. And around the speakers there are ambient lights. The driving feeling of IONIQ 5 is very similar to that of EV6. Both have the feeling of a regular electric car. It's really powerful though. Dual motor 4-wheel drive version. Even in normal mode, just step on pedal deeply. It's easy to have that feeling of separation between human and brain. The vehicle's acceleration performance is quite good in daily driving. No matter which speed range you are driving at, the acceleration performance is very agile. The speed of the vehicle is far beyond the imagination. When you drive this kind of EV on the road, must be careful and don't be too violent. For you, for me, and for her. It's 4-wheel drive, but usually the main job is to be rear-wheel drive. In normal mode, the rear-wheel drive is the main driver. Only under some special circumstances, the 4 wheels will be fully powered, such as rapid acceleration, such as rain and snow weather. The suspension feels very typical of EV without air suspension. You can clearly feel that the body is so heavy, the suspension is pressed hard, and basically no large range of movement. At low speeds, small bumps on the road can be clearly felt inside. Although we can feel the suspension is working hard to make it comfortable, just cause the limitability of itself. And the heavy body, the vibration will still be transmitted to inside relatively clearly. When driving fast on the highway over a smooth undulating road surface, the body of the car vibrates up and down, not too much, but it does shake to a certain extent. The number of vibrations is basically very small because the body is too heavy to move up and down. In addition, when the vehicle rolls down a small slope slowly, or when the heights of the 4 wheels are inconsistent, you will clearly hear the sound of the body being pressed. Every time I hear this sound, I will feel guilty and distressed for a moment. The quietness of this car is quite good. I have to praise this. It itself eliminates one source of noise, the engine noise. The tire noise control is relatively good when driving. Except for a few stretches of road in Dallas caused of the problem of bad material used to pave the road, the tire noise I hear is quite annoying. Under normal road conditions, tire noise is controlled quite well at this level at high speed. Wind noise is quite obvious. I think it's not because the wind noise is poorly controlled. It just caused that other noises are too small to feel, just left the wind noise. The steering wheel force of this vehicle is also quite comfortable. Nothing to fault, light at low speed while stable at high speed. The brake pedal is also relatively tight. Basically, it will react as soon as your foot on the pedal. But you can clearly feel body is very heavy while driving at high speed through the brake pedal. When stepping on brake pedal, you can feel the point of the brake, probably between 1 and 3 towards the halfway point of the pedal itinerary. According to the meter shows during my driving, the maximum range is about 270 miles in fully charged. The mileage is around 2,000 miles when I got it. Here, I would also like to solemnly appeal that recently in new EVs, new manufacturers have taken the lead in omitting the rear window wiper on hatchback cars. After that, the traditional brands go in. Just like a widow meets a handsome guy, or meets mana after a long drought, a new world for cost reduction has been found. When launching new hatchbacks one after another, rear window wiper were removed. It is true that rear window wipers are not within the scope of national standards in many countries. However, shouldn't we think about that the reason why it was designed before? It's actually fine to drive hatchback in the local area on rainy days, but when driving on the highway, especially dirty road, you really can't see out of the rear window. Of course, some people will say, can't you drive without looking through the rear window? It can certainly be opened, but it is inconvenient. Although I know that I speak lightly here, from now on, every time I see a hatchback without a rear wiper, I will make a serious appeal. Costs can't be reduced like this. At least back window wiper can be an option to be chosen by who needs it. In summary, this is the video of this 2023 IONIQ 5. On the whole, IONIQ 5 is a relatively balanced electric car product. Its appearance design adopts a cute style. The biggest selling point is that the wheelbase is relatively long and the interior space is relatively spacious. In terms of power, it is also the performance that a high-quality EV should have. IONIQ 5 is so hot now. From the market view, it has been hard to get a vehicle in stock since its launch. Prices were relatively high before, due to a certain new brand, got the first shot of price reduction in the US market later. After that, various brands started to have promotions on EVs and the prices also became loose. Everyone knows the current price system of vehicles in the US market. If the models of the same level and grade, Gasoline's in the bottoms. Hybrid's higher. Plug-in hybrid is higher than hybrid. EVs are on the top line. If EV want to be popularized in US market, the high price is one of its barriers. At present, traditional manufacturers have more concerns because their main products are still gasoline or hybrid products. If the EV is lowered too low to impact its main products, this is a question that the manufacturers have to consider. How to have your cake and eat it too. Of course, it's still the same words. Buy whichever one you like. Don't control, don't be shy. Thank you for the above video.